Good evening. My name is Andres Felipe Fajardo Vélez, and today I'm going to talk about if everything is good. Many people think that the world is a terrifying bunch of wars, poverty, hunger, because that's what the media is always showing us. But in fact, there's some statistical information and data, as well as factual elements, that could help them to change the way they see everything around the world. At first, it is important to consider life expectancy, which has increased more than 30 years since the early 1800s until today, of course. Having a look in Colombia, the period of evaluation has been shorter than that, and a significant change occurred in 1950, more or less. Apparently, the country saw a life and mortality rate decreased considerably. In fact, life expectancy is presented about over 70 years, which is quite interesting, considering that Colombia has one of the biggest problems in terms of terrorism as well as many other social aspects. But elders will have longer lived, so will I. Moreover, many of my friends don't want to have kids, and I don't either because they or we actually think that it will be unfair to leave someone in this difficult environment, which is getting just worse and worse. However, for those interested in having some, well, mortality statistics show a sign of improvement around the world. More than a century ago, European countries had about 40% of child mortality. Nowadays, it is less than 0.5%. Information which has been gathered since the early 1900s shows how Latin American countries have improved life expectancy for newborns. Most of the decreasing trend is related to the end of civil wars, world wars, new discoveries in terms of vaccines, medicine, healthy routines, and so on. The boy who could have died in the past is now a child with a bright future in his hands. An additional aspect to take into account are fertility rates, which are decreasing periodically for those who are concerned about population. It is said that the last will stabilize by the end of this century, becoming one less problem for the future generations, which are the important ones, I think. It is impressive, isn't it? I mean, in comparison with other countries of this continent at least, Colombia has one of the lowest average of kids per woman, being about 2, while other Latin American countries have between 2 and 4. I feel proud of it as a Colombian, to be honest. In terms of politics, a major change has been considered since the early 1816. Autocracies and colonies were the regimes most of the citizens in the world were part of. But as the time passed by, new tendencies raised from people's discomfort and established democracies as a more people-related regime. It broke terms like property, income, taxes, legislation, and multiple elements, which now help us not only to be organized, but to feel that we own our lives and that we are not just placing someone else's desires and so on. Many elders have told me that the past was better, but after arguing with facts, some of them actually said that being able to have a tranquil life nowadays could be the paradise that they were looking for in the past when they were fighting for their peace and freedom and anyway, anything else. To conclude this idea, the change of regime is completely related to the type of confrontations that countries have to deal with now, as well as the rights people have to choose what's better for them, showing the positive consequences brought by most of the countries and the new models of politics in general. And last but not least, it is necessary to have a look on education. None of the positive aspects previously mentioned could have been done without education. It is the root for any aspect in the world. It is true that a great barrier exists in some countries around the world, especially those located in Africa and Asia. However, an important change has been done, and the population with no education is diminishing. It is expected that by the end of 2080, the percentage of people with no education should be no less than 0.1 billion people. There's a global desire to learn and succeed, which is represented in a 50% increase who has completed secondary school and started taking some secondary studies of any kind, university, technicians, or well, any kind. There's a sense of consciousness which provides tools to improve step by step the society that we are living in, becoming an encouraging element which could lead to the end of poverty, racial differences, health, and many other aspects that require some reinforcement and support. My uncle told me once that this generation would change the world, and I think that too, actually. I have great expectations on the young generations because they will see our mistakes and hopefully are going to make something about it. I think so. So they will give this world the glory it deserves. Thank you.